Does it trouble you?
I wish I could get rid of it.
We have need of it yet.
So you've mentioned.
What's important is that your mark is now stable, as is the breach. You've given us time, and Solas believes a second attempt might succeed, provided the mark has more power. The same level of power used to open the breach in the first place. That is not easy to come by.
Clearly you have something in mind.
We do. You've met Commander Cullen, leader of the Inquisition's forces.
It was only for a moment on the field. I'm pleased you survived.
This is Lady Josephine Montelier, our ambassador and chief diplomat.
I've heard much. It's a pleasure to meet you at last.
And of course, you know Sister Liliana.
My position here involves a degree of...
She is our spy master.
Yes, tactfully put, Cassandra.
Cassandra tells me you have a plan.
I mentioned that your mark needs more power to close the breach for good.
Which means we must approach the rebel mages for help.
And I still disagree. The Templars could serve just as well.
We need power, Commander. Enough magic poured into that mark.
Might destroy us all. Templars could suppress the breach, weaken it, so...
Pure speculation.
I was a Templar. I know what they're capable of.
Unfortunately, neither group will even speak to us yet. The Chantry has denounced the Inquisition, and you specifically.
Can't you simply ignore them?
If only that were possible. Some are calling you, a mage, the Herald of Andraste. That frightens the Chantry. The remaining clerics have declared it blasphemy, and we, heretics, for harboring you.
Chancellor Roderick's doing, no doubt.
It limits our options. Approaching the mages or Templars for help is currently out of the question.
They aren't more concerned about the breach? The real threat?
They do know it's a threat, they just don't think we can stop it.
The Chantry is telling everyone you'll make it worse. There is something you can do. A Chantry cleric by the name of Mother Giselle has asked to speak to you. She is not far and knows those involved far better than I. Her assistance could be invaluable.
She asked for me? You don't think that could be an ambush?
I doubt it. From what I know of her, she's a kind soul and not the sort to involve herself in violence. You will find Mother Giselle tending to the wounded in the hinterlands near Redcliffe.
Look for other opportunities to expand the Inquisition's influence while you're there.
We need agents to extend our reach beyond this valley, and you're better suited than anyone to recruit them.
In the meantime, let's think of other options. I won't leave this all to the Herald.
The Inquisition cannot remain, Ambassador, if you can't prove it was founded on Justinian's orders.
This is an inopportune time, Marquis. More of the faithful flock here each day. But allow me to introduce you to the brave soul who risked her life to slow the magic of the breach. Sir Trevelyan, may I present the Marquis d'Aurelion, one of Divine Justinia's greatest supporters.
And the rightful owner of Haven. House d'Aurelion lent Justinia these lands for pilgrimage. This Inquisition is not a beneficiary of this arrangement.
Demons are pouring from the sky, and you're worried about land claims?
Haven is the d'Aurelion's rightful property.
Has Empress Selene officially acknowledged your possession of Haven? I was unaware Her Imperial Majesty had conferred with the King of Ferelden on this matter.
The Empress has not yet had the opportunity to do so.
We face a dark time, Your Grace. Divine Justinia would not want her passing to divide us. She would, in fact, trust us to forge new alliances to the benefit of all, no matter how strange they might seem.
I'll think on it, Lady Montelier. The Inquisition might stay in the meanwhile.
Let's hope his arrogance doesn't return.
Even should he leave, the Marquis will share his thoughts on us upon his return to Val Royeaux. Every guest we receive, and we will receive them, will spread the Inquisition's story. An ambassador should ensure the tale is as complimentary as possible.
If every noble wandering by is as stubborn as the Marquis, what good is it talking to them?
Every kingdom is subject to its lords. The Inquisition will require their goodwill to survive. But please excuse me. I've much work to do before the day is done. Good day to you.
What business are the Montiliers in, exactly?
We began as merchants. My ancestors founded the first trade routes to Rivain. We once sent entire fleets across the waking sea.
But not anymore?
No. These days, our vessels are a touch more modest.
I'd swear our families have met before.
Perhaps. Everyone of distinction in the free marches attends Lady Trevelyan's summer balls.
Great Aunt Lucille always did love a party.
I don't recall seeing you at any of them.
Attend one ball and you'll fend off invites for a dozen more.
That reminds me. The Herald of Andraste has received several invitations from the curious.
To parties? How many am I getting?
Only 17 this month, I'm afraid.
What did you do before coming here?
I had the great honor of serving Antiva's crown as ambassador to Orlais. I'm also first in line to become the head of House Montilier, though my siblings attend to our mercantile affairs.
How strong are your past loyalties?
I would never have given up my position if I did not intend to fully commit to the Inquisition. We cannot fall back on borders. Antiva is as threatened as any country by the rebellions. If anything, the alliances I forged there may help our current cause.
Do you think the Inquisition will continue after we seal the breach?
If we prove ourselves by healing the breach, people may turn to us for other things. Protection, counsel, justice. The Inquisition offered these once to those in need.
Tell me, do you believe I was saved by Andraste at the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I should much like to believe so, Your Worship. The miracles Andraste performed were so long ago, they're difficult to picture. If it were truly her and the Fate who saved you... Well, in any case, many already believe you walk in the Maker's light.
Let's speak later.
Another time. Did you need something?
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Val Royeaux, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball. She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... alright. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party. We've been friends ever since.
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are pinned to a chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hawk twins. Bethany in particular. She would spend time in meditation at the chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly.
You have a history with the warden who ended the Blight, don't you?
We were in love. Even in the midst of all the chaos, I was happy. Truly happy. And then she... I'm sorry. I'd rather not talk about this.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
Good day to you.
Why did you join the Inquisition?
I'd been considering leaving my post in Antiva for a new challenge when Leliana recruited me. There's such unrest in Thedas, and the Inquisition seems a promising method to stop it. It's to everyone's benefit if we prevent the Mage-Templar conflict from spreading further.
So was it the prospect of stability that drew you here?
The full impact of the Mage Rebellion has yet to be felt, and that was before the death of the Divine. The violence must be curbed before we see it turn to full-scale war.
The Inquisition's primary goal is still closing the rift in the Fade.
Which likely means finding the Divine's murderer. That will make the Inquisition a rallying point, regardless of what tack we take. I fear these conflicts will not leave us untouched.
What exactly does your job entail?
I meet with ambassadors from various factions and countries, and cement alliances with them. We are a young cause. Diplomacy is essential to our credibility.
Then you speak for the Inquisition with these nobles?
I do. Someone must foster goodwill on our behalf, as well as prevent controversy as news of us spreads.
How heavily are our actions scrutinized?
Make no mistake, every noble house, every throne, is waiting to see what the Inquisition does next. Many are willing to pledge support, if offers are made in just the right fashion. I intend to see that they are.
How do you and Liliana know each other?
We moved through similar circles in Orlais. I believe we actually met in Val Royeaux. Liliana was quite an accomplished player of the game by then.
What exactly do you mean when you say the game?
Forgive me. The game refers to the slow duels of influence among the noble and powerful of Orlais. It's a rather light-hearted name for the matter, but Orlesians are fond of playful touches.
What do the people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
Sir Griffith of Denerim, a most distinguished knight of the realm. He's defeated darkspawn, slain demons, chased down abominations. Just don't ask him about it over dinner. He spares no detail. Lady Trevelyan. May I have a moment?
Yes, Ambassador?
I'd like to discuss your parents.
A little sudden, but it's time someone made an honest woman of me.
What? Very amusing. This is serious. I'd like to dispatch a courier asking the bands of House Trevelyan to align themselves with us. What are your thoughts? Should we approach your family for their formal support of the Inquisition?
With the Trevelyans, my presence may close more doors than it opens. My family and I are not on the best of terms.
I'm sorry to hear that. I shall not press the matter, but others will. Val Royeaux has noted your lineage. It gives the Inquisition some legitimacy, although not so much as we'd hoped.
Why not?
You are from Ostwick. Orlesian nobles consider the free marches somewhat quaint.
Even though I'm a mage? That doesn't give them pause?
They're not an unfamiliar sight. Mages from noble families are given more leeway. Besides, Ostwick Circle had a reputation for being rather sedate.
You've never been bored until you've lived in a tower of studious, well-behaved mages. Even our circle's fall was quiet. Everyone just left.
No wonder the people's faith in Templars has been shaken.
Some seemed all right at first. A smile here, a nod there. Yet when a mage was punished harshly, they turned to stone and watched.
That must have been hard. It's a shame we could not establish ourselves somewhere more peaceful. I hope you don't find the living conditions in Haven too drastic for someone of your station.
I can't wait until we find a better place to live than a bunch of hovels in the middle of an ice storm.
Oh, it's such a relief to hear someone else say that out loud. If it were up to me, the moment it was safe, we'd relocate to Val Royaux. Our enemies know where we are. We might live somewhere more civilized when they come. Good day to you.
What do the people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
None in particular. Our guests are well pleased with what they've seen. The Inquisition appreciates your assistance in this matter, Lady Corbin.
And my miners appreciate your business. You'll have your lyrium by the end of the week. I should tell you, Ambassador, the Chantry raised some fuss when they learned about our arrangement.
The Inquisition must certainly seem an audacious idea to the Grand Clerics. We hope to convince them it is a necessary one as well.
I'll take my leave. Good day.
Who was she, Ambassador?
A merchant. I thought we should reach out to the dwarves to secure lyrium for the Inquisition's mages. According to Lady Corbin, it raised the ire of the Chantry.
How?
Access to lyrium makes us rather more formidable than I anticipated. We are becoming a challenge. Sadly, the remaining Grand Clerics appear to be consolidating the Chantry's power, instead of comforting the masses.
Mage circles started falling years ago. The Chantry was troubled even before the Divine's murder.
Yet many people continue to bear it great love. We will not benefit from its decline. Little but the Chantry ties Orlais, Nevarra, Ferelden, Antiva, and even Rivain to a common cause.
Has the Chantry truly promoted such peace?
Andraste's chant is familiar across kingdoms, a source of many shared customs. That is the crucial point. Common ground is the start of all negotiations.
Are you sure? Families often fight the hardest.
Having grown up among four siblings, I concede your point. I found, however, that the only time two parties cannot negotiate is when they cease to speak. We must learn to think beyond our own wants, to secure peace in Thedas.
How did someone so lovely and selfless go into Orlesian politics, Lady Montelier?
Well, that is, really, you give me too much credit. While you're here, I do have a question. The remaining Grand Clerics sent a missive inquiring about the events at the Temple of Sacred Ashes. They demand to know whether the Inquisition officially claims that Andraste saved you from the breach. If it were up to you, how would you reply?
I'd tell the Chantry I was saved by circumstance, not divine intervention.
Yet as rumors your Andraste's herald grow, the Grand Clerics may not believe such a humble reply. A difficult situation, and I thank you for your answer. A good day to you. I've made some inquiries into the Imperial Court. The sooner we deal with the threats to the Empress, the better. The political situation in the Empire is dangerously unstable. It will complicate matters.
Everything in the Empire complicates matters. It's the Orlesian national pastime.
Turn your nose up at the grand game if you like, Commander, but we play for the higher stakes, and to the death.
The court's disapproval can be as great a threat as the Venatori. We must be vigilant to avert disaster.
I don't care about Orlesian politics. Just get me to the Empress.
Of course, Inquisitor. Celine is holding peace talks under the auspices of a grand masquerade. Every power in Orlais will be there. It's the perfect place for an assassin to hide.
We need to attend this ball.
We don't have enough sway with the court to arrange an invitation. Perhaps a few more alliances.
Or soldiers.
We need a greater presence in Orlais. And soon. Inquisitor, I was just inspecting our new headquarters. Foundation cracks, nesting animals, and miles from any centers of civilization. The staff must make it presentable if we're to receive any visitors of distinction.
Our allies shouldn't expect luxuries when they sign on to fight the first Darkspawn.
There is a difference between luxury and a building with no holes in the walls. The mages will be gauging the Inquisition's fortitude. They should feel safe here.
I'm more concerned about reinforcing Skyhold in case Corypheus attacks again.
I've had difficulty forgetting his assault on Haven. Do you know who first leapt to arms? Our workers. They were so proud of our cause. Corypheus simply cut them down. So much screaming after that first blast of fire. So many people turned to ash.
Corypheus will pay when I face him again.
I dearly hope that happens soon. Well, before I return to my duties, allow me to congratulate you on your appointment as Inquisitor, my lady. I will now bring diplomatic issues to your attention, and I'm more than happy to help with any situations that arise.
I'm loath to part from such pleasant company. Would you care to walk the castle with me?
Oh, well, a tour then? Let me fetch the steward.
That isn't precisely what I was hoping for.
Well, do let me know if you change your mind. Now I must find someone to prepare the guest quarters. Inquisitor, is it true? Is the mark on your hand magic cast by Corypheus?
Corypheus claimed it's a spell gone wrong.
I wanted to think it was a blessing. A sign the Maker was returning to his creation. How credulous of me.
The anchor's nothing more special than a misfired spell.
At least you had the good fortune to take it from Corypheus. Does it hurt? The anchor, that is.
It's not pain. It's more like my nerves go on fire.
It sounds most unpleasant. And what else did Lady Forsythia say?
That she'd rather drown herself than help the Inquisition.
Anything else?
She said she'd have us flogged alive if we allied with her brother.
That does sound like her.
Cheer up, Josie. We at least have her attention.
You always do find the brighter side of things. We are in the midst of cementing an alliance with Lady Forsythia of Nevada, your worship. It's become a somewhat delicate task.
She'll have us flogged alive?
I believe she meant flayed alive. Her ladyship tends to confuse metaphors when she's excitable. I dissuaded her from sending soldiers when she learned we'd struck an accord with a brother she's feuding with. Lady Forsythia simply employs a colorful manner of speech.
Do you always apologize for bloodthirsty nobles?
It's the usual showmanship expected from those in power, Inquisitor. Nothing more. But I confess I do miss my staff from the embassy in Antiva. It was always useful to discuss the day's visitors with them.
I have time, if you'd like to review things with me.
I wouldn't wish to impose.
If it were imposing, I wouldn't have offered.
Well, I admit there are a few potential alliances it would be good to discuss. Right on the parlor floor, in front of everyone at the soiree. Who does such a thing in front of their guests?
The Duke of Kellington, apparently.
And then there's Cole's lurking. It frightens our guests half to death. Lord Gennard still won't respond to our letters. Then there's Dorian. The man refuses to take anything seriously unless it suits its whim. Not to mention... Oh goodness. Have we been here an hour already?
Is relaxing really this difficult for you?
Of course not. Well, occasionally. I didn't intend to go on for so long. You must think me quite the gossip.
Spending time with such an engaging woman is never unpleasant, Lady Montelier.
Goodness. Well, I'm glad I haven't wasted your day. Well, I've taken up quite enough of your time already. Until next time, Your Worship. A situation requires your attention, Inquisitor. Noble Chantry loyalists in the city of Jadar are spreading accusations that you're responsible for the Divine's death. They're unusually organized. I recommend we send people to Jadar to deal with the matter.
Let's send some ambassadors to convince Jadar I'm not a monster in disguise.
Excellent. I believe there's much to be gained by winning them over. Inquisitor, I must speak with you.
What is it?
I must explain something first about the Montelier's fortunes.
I remember you said your family had been forbidden from trading in Orlais.
It's devastated our finances. The Monteliers have, in fact, been in debt for over 100 years.
This better not be about lending you money.
What? No, certainly not. I promise you. For generations, we've done everything to keep creditors at bay. Sold our lands to stave off interest. It is infuriating to see my family still reduced to this. I'm to become head of our house. If I sell any more of our land, my family will become destitute. That cannot be my legacy to them.
Why not let someone else in your family run the estate if it has so many problems?
But I was so close to solving them. I negotiated a chance to reinstate the Monteliers as landed traders in Orlais. We could rebuild with that. But when I dispatched paperwork to Val Royeaux, I've just learned my carriers were murdered. And the documents restoring my family's trading status destroyed.
Were the murderers targeting the Inquisition?
Leliana made inquiries that bore success. Comte Boisvert, a nobleman in Val Royeaux, claims to know who killed my messengers. He has a request that you come when I meet him, so he's seen publicly conferring with you.
If I meet this Comte, he better not try to wheedle anything from me.
I will take full responsibility if that's the case, Inquisitor. I must know who killed my couriers just to harm my family. I've heard you're training in the art of necromancy, Inquisitor. Is that wise, considering the Mortalitatis' reputation?
I know my way around magic.
It's not your skills I'm worried about. Outside Nevada, most people think the Mortalitasi perform death rituals, and sacrifices, and Maker knows what else. I will try to keep the fact that you're learning this as quiet as possible.
Do you know where this noble wanted to meet us?
I do. The Comte Boisvert's invited us to his mansion, not far from here. I pray he clears up the deaths of my messengers, as promised.
Lead the way.
Welcome, my friend.
Thank you for seeing us, Comte Boisvert.
The honor is mine. Please, sit. It's an honor to assist two such distinguished guests.
Please, tell us what you know.
Straight to business, then. After the murder of Lady Montulier's people, I don't suppose I can blame you. Have you heard of the House of Repose?
The Assassin's League?
My contacts obtained a copy of a document in the archives. Contract for a life.
The House of Repose is hereby sworn to eliminate anyone attempting to overturn the Monteliers' trading exile in Orlais.
Who's sending these assassins?
The contract was signed by a noble family. The Du Paraquets.
But the Du Paraquets died out as a noble line over 60 years ago.
Indeed. But the contract was signed 109 years ago.
How can a family try to kill you after they died out?
The Duparequets were our rivals. They drove the Montiliers from Val Royaux. This contract was drawn up over 100 years ago, but it wasn't invoked until I tried to overturn my family's exile.
Unpleasant though it may be, the House of Repose is merely fulfilling its contractual duties.
So we destroy this House of Repose before assassins appear at Skyhold's doorstep.
There may be a less confrontational way to end this. The Duparequets still have descendants under the common branch. If we elevate them to nobility, a Duparequet could annul the contract on my life.
That will take time, Lady Montilier. Time during which the House of Repose will be obliged to hunt you.
Will they now? You are exceedingly well informed. You're not to have said you'd heard rumors, at best.
A bit of subterfuge. This contract on your life is an ugly business. One the House of Repose deeply regrets. But this is Orlais. Even an assassin's word is his bond.
The House of Repose has some nerve sending a killer to greet us.
Hardly anyone in the League isn't trained for this, Inquisitor. The contract on Lady Montilier's life is so unusual, we felt the courtesy of an explanation was in order.
It is appreciated, monsieur.
Your idea to seek out a Duparequet to revoke our orders is an interesting one. I wish you luck. I did not come to shed blood today, Inquisitor. Only to speak. Might I pass?
Not on your life.
As you wish.
Well, I didn't think our meeting would end like this.
We'll deal with these assassins.
I have some thoughts. Let's discuss them back at Skyhold. I'll feel safer with the castle's walls around me.
Do you hear something?
Oh, goodness. Comte Poivert, is that you? Oh, the lock's been broken off. We'll find a saw. I realize the cabinet is quite valuable, Comte, but surely... A locksmith, then? As you wish. I'm so sorry, Inquisitor. I never thought my family's trading status would trap us in an assassin's plot.
What's done is done. We must deal with this House of Repose before they come again.
Yes. Yes, of course. I've tracked down the last Duparequets. If they become gentry, they can annul the contract on my life. We'll require a noble from Val Royaux to sponsor them, a judge to provide documents, a minister to ratify them.
It's so like you to take the longest course of action, even when your life is at stake.
I assume you already know everything about this mess.
There is a faster way, Josephine. The original contract on your life is in the vaults of the House of Repose. If my agents infiltrate it and destroy the original, the assassin will have no obligation to chase you.
Leliana, please. I want no more bloodshed over a personal affair.
Don't be so stubborn, Josie. How long will it take you to gather these favors in Val Royaux?
Give me some time to think this over.
I'll post a watch on our ambassador in case the House of Repose visits.
I appreciate it, but I still believe elevating the Duparequets will solve this. First, we need to perform some favors in Val Royaux. I'd be happy to discuss where we could begin.
I read Liliana's report. Her people infiltrated the League of Assassins, targeting you. The contract on your life has been destroyed. You should be safe now.
And thus we outwit the House of Repose.
This was for your safety, Josephine.
I've no doubt that the guild was staffed by vicious men and women, Inquisitor. It's simply... Did I ever mention I used to be a bard?
You were a singer.
Bards entertain the Orlesian court. They sing, play music, make charming conversation, and spy. Many young nobles put on a mask and practice playing the game in such a fashion.
How did you go from being a wandering singer to an ambassador?
In a very sad fashion. During one particular intrigue, I encountered a bard sent to kill my patron. We fought. Or perhaps scrapped is the better word. Both of us terrified. We were at the top of a steep flight of stairs. The other bard threw a knife, and I pushed him away from me. You can imagine the result.
I don't see the fault. You survived, as did your patron.
But it was such a waste, Inquisitor. When I took off his mask, I knew him. We'd attended parties together. If I'd stopped to reason, if I'd used my voice instead of scuffling like a common thug, I'll always wonder who that young man would have grown into.
You of all people should know you can't play the game without bloodshed.
Never as the first resort, Inquisitor. Never as a way that makes currency of lives. In all the commotion... Forgive me, I don't believe I ever thanked you for helping me with this.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Such a gracious woman deserves nothing less.
Such talk. I'm quite overcome.
Should I stop?
Oh, no. I mean, yes. I meant, no, I don't... Well, if you meant to draw a blush to my cheeks, you've completely succeeded. Let's return to Skyhold before anyone notices. Leliana wished to speak with you, Inquisitor. It seemed rather urgent. It's good to see you.
Who rules Antiva?
Officially, the Principality of Antiva is governed by His Majesty King Fugelno II. In reality, Antiva's merchant princes rule the country in everything but name. Quite loudly, I might add.
What sort of dealings did you have with these merchant families?
As ambassador, I attended Privy Council meetings in a mediatory capacity. May I just say, one has never heard an argument until they've sat in on 15 princes howling down each other's tariff suggestions.
I'd storm out of any meeting that came to that.
It would be fitting. Dramatic exits are always a favorite. It's all a part of life in Antiva. Our traditions value passion and romance. A certain exuberance of style.
Are you positive you're Antivan?
I can be most exuberant when it's called for. Just at the right moments, and in a proper fashion. Might we speak of something else?
Where were you raised, Josephine?
I was born in Antiva City, but when I turned 15, Mother declared I'd attend finishing school in Val Royeaux. But I bawled into her skirts the day I had to leave.
I can see that somehow.
Admittedly, I may have been a trifle sheltered, but my mother only wanted the best for me. Living in Orlais was an education in itself.
What did you learn at this finishing school in Val Royeaux?
Among other things, mathematics, rhetoric, poetry, history, logic, and a great deal of etiquette. I still remember Madame Beventir's switch on my knuckles when I forgot the basic tenets of Nevaran dining customs. For a dowager approaching her 80th year, she had quite the arm.
How did the younger you like Val Royeaux when you arrived?
Have you ever stepped into a new city and felt the buildings couldn't possibly be real? That was Val Royeaux to me. So beautifully foreign, I gaped at its spires for months.
Does Antiva City have nothing that compares to Val Royeaux?
Antiva City is a jewel among the capitals. But I did not appreciate that before I traveled. There are multitudes of places I'd like to see. Saharan, the Anderfels, whatever lies past the Amaranthine Ocean.
What's the land like in Antiva?
The settled areas are quite lush. The vineyards run as far as the eye can see in some places. Antiva City, however, perches right up against the Rialto Bay. That's what I miss most. The sea crashing against the maze of the docks.
I have difficulty seeing you wandering around a trading port.
Everyone in Antiva City spends time by the ships, my lady. The finest restaurants and poets all make their habitation by the sea. The waterfront's never still. Lanterns are lit along the promenade no matter what the weather.
Are you ever homesick?
Occasionally. When a breeze stirs the trees in the garden, I sometimes pretend it's the sound of the surf. Do you know, I even miss those terrible squawking birds infesting the harbor. My youngest sister used to throw whole loaves of bread to the gulls. Silly thing.
You haven't really gone into detail about how you know Liliana.
We met... let me think. We met the last few years of my schooling, but we became friends after I became ambassador to Olay. It seems terrifyingly long ago now.
How exactly did you and Liliana reconnect in the Inquisition?
I discovered my family had been overcharging a merchant we traded with for months. Our name carries a great deal of trust in Antiva. I spent weeks arranging a string of favors as suitable recompense. Apparently satisfied, the merchant extended me an invitation to her estate. Liliana greeted me in place of the merchant.
Why didn't she send a message instead of playing all these games?
It was a test of sorts. Liliana claimed she needed someone of painful integrity for the Inquisition. I accepted, once she finally explained what it was.
Do you remain close?
Yes, but she's grown so much more distant than the outgoing woman I met in Valroyo. Liliana used to wander the Orlesian courts, singing the sweetest songs, charming the greatest wits. Now she collects secrets and takes risks that would make empires tremble. I worry, but she will not hear it.
Does Liliana confide in you?
She enjoys revisiting our more disastrous adventures. Liliana used to concoct the most ridiculous plans. Run if you ever see her with a twine ball, a measuring stick, and a handkerchief.
Tell me about the Montiliers.
Well, my parents are alive and in good health. They live in our estate in Antiva City. Of my 4 siblings, most attend to the running of the family vineyards. That reminds me, I must ask someone to make sure Yvette attends the spring reception at the palace. My youngest sister has no head for social engagements.
Why are you overseeing your siblings' social lives?
It's Antivan custom. After a certain age, the heir apparent runs the family's estate to prove they're worthy of succession. If you're unfit for the task, the heads of the house, usually one's parents, may decree a new heir.
Can you run your family's business and be the Inquisition's ambassador?
I won't let it interfere with the quality of my work for the Inquisition, I assure you. But managing the estate is my duty. As much work as it is, I will not shirk it.
Is running your family's estate that important to you?
I'm responsible for their welfare. A Montilier never shuns their familial duty. Taxing as those duties can sometimes be.
You have enough siblings. Let one of them take over.
You don't know them. But Lorien in charge, or Antoine, or Yvette? No, truly, it must be me.
Inquisitor, may I have a word? I notice you've paid Lady Montilier quite a number of compliments.
What does that have to do with you?
An entanglement with our ambassador seems most unwise. I asked Josephine to join the Inquisition because we needed a diplomat, not so she could be toyed with.
Whatever's between me and Josephine is none of your concern.
I disagree, Inquisitor. I brought her here. Josephine's no stranger to courtly intrigue. But love? There she's an innocent. She has no idea you are truly attracted to her. If indeed you are.
Yes, I'm very attracted to Josephine.
Is that so? Whatever is between you, I ask that you treat her with kindness. For her sake, as well as yours.
Josephine and I aren't children.
I'm aware how little my opinion counts in matters of the heart. I will not trouble you any further, but I do watch over my friends. Good day, your worship.
Well, Liliana just gave me quite the speech.
What about?
About us.
Oh, she is impossible. Might we discuss this somewhere more private? Leliana said I was an innocent in love?
More or less.
Of all the... I'm quite capable of understanding our association. I've never thought your intentions were overly romantic, Inquisitor. I assure you.
Perhaps I should have composed a ballad then, or sent roses.
What? You mean you do? We've only just... I didn't wish to presume you harbored any tender feelings for me.
But I am attracted to you. Quite, in fact.
But we haven't even known each other a few short months. How can you declare this liking for me after such a brief time together?
I don't know why I can't stop thinking about you, Josephine. I only know that I do.
I would not object to a closer relationship between us, my lady. If that sounds agreeable to you.
You have no idea how happy I am to hear that.
Well, then.
How are you, my lady?
Let's meet away from prying eyes for a while. Just you and me.
A meeting? I could find a place for us to... Oh, together. My word. Well, then, do lead the way. It's good to see you.
How far do your roots go back to Orlais?
Very far. The Montiliers used to have vast holdings in Val Royaux itself. I wish I could have seen them, especially the ones bearing the family crest. The original crest design was abandoned when we were exiled from the city. I've always wanted to find a copy.
Why was Liliana so set against us being together, Josephine?
Think nothing of it. She'd disapprove of anyone I chose to keep serious company with. Back in Val Royaux, Leliana was practically my older sister.
So you two never had a romantic history together?
A romantic... You did hear me say Leliana was like a sister to me. She's a most dear friend, and nothing more.
Has our being together set any tongues wagging?
Undoubtedly. A rumor already gave you a dozen suitors the moment you took your title.
Who are these rumors pairing me with?
I can only speak to what was whispered in several courts.
Josephine?
To begin with, Cassandra, Leliana, Cullen, Dorian, Mother Giselle, Enchanter Fiona, Chancellor Roderick, 3 Rs, 2 Counts, and some man named Philip. Honestly, I don't think he even exists.
Let's speak later.
Goodbye. Why, what's this?
You said you wanted to see your original family crest? I found one for you.
I'm astonished. I'd given up hope that any example of the early family crest still existed. It even has our first motto, back from when we had a trading fleet to speak of. From sea to shore, we tame the waves.
It took some hunting, but I persevered.
This will mean a great deal to my entire family. Thank you. There you are. I've been looking all over for you. I've just received the most terrible news.
What is it?
I'm engaged.
To me?
For the past year, my mother and father have searched Antiva for a match for me. They had no idea you and I had grown so close. Today, I received a letter declaring they've betrothed me to Lord Adorno Cielo Tranto of Antiva. I must deal with this. But until then, we cannot be seen in a compromising situation. I'm so sorry.
Have you and this Antivan lord ever even met?
No. Perhaps, maybe at a cotillion some years ago. Oh, this is not what I wanted to happen. I barely remember Lord Otranto. I must see to this. And to my other duties. If I can keep my mind on them today at all. Inquisitor, I'm afraid untangling my engagement to Lord Otranto will take some time.
Is there anything I can do?
He is Antivan. The only acceptable thing to do would be to challenge him to a duel for my favor.
Arrange the duel with Lord Otranto, then.
What? No, Inquisitor, please. That was said in jest. The traditional form of dueling among Antiva nobles isn't usually fatal, but there's always a chance of harm. I hardly wish to see you skewered on a sword point for the sake of my honor. We've an interesting development, Inquisitor. A petition from citizens of Val Royaux. They wish to know what Andraste said to you in the Fade.
They think she spoke to me?
Even Leliana can't trace the rumor's origin. It may be expedient to respond to those asking for Andraste's words.
Tell them the Inquisition's position is that the Divine saved me from the Fade, not Andraste.
Very well. Some of the devout will be discouraged, but it will placate the Chantry. Yes?
How do you stay so civil with everyone, Josephine?
Bonds of circumstance among the nobility are fickle. Civility is the only constant everyone admires. And I do deplore rudeness in those who know better.
Does it even become a strain, sometimes?
Well, it can be trying. There is no shortage of self-regard among the nobility. The game can be wearying, discouraging, and extremely baneful. But honestly, I'd miss meeting people. I've made the most fascinating friends.
I'd never put up with treachery just for the chance to shake someone's hand.
A betrayed confidence is a painful thing. I try not to think about it often. A trick one learns to keep their wits about them in Orlais.
If I dueled this Lord Otranto, I could force him to give up his betrothal with you.
But you could be hurt. Dueling is a very precise sport. Men and women spend years perfecting their skills with a rapier. I couldn't bear to think of my family putting you in any further danger. Again.
Tell me again about this Antivan lord your parents engaged you to.
Adorno Cielo Tranto? His family runs several shipping companies in Antiva that do very well. Of the man's temper and disposition and habits, I know nothing. Well, Mother claims he enjoys sailing and dueling, but what Antivan lord doesn't?
You don't favor this marriage, Josephine, do you?
Certainly not. If I hadn't met you, perhaps I'd have been amenable, but honestly, you've no worry.
Does Antiva law force you to marry? Can't you break off the betrothal?
In theory, I very easily could. In reality, if I reject Lord Otranto without proper niceties, it will scar my family's name. Perhaps ignite a feud. Disentangling myself from the engagement will take months. Or years.
While you're worried about your family, what happens to us?
I cannot be with you until the question of this engagement is settled. It is simply not my own reputation. It is my family's. I do not have the right to risk it. As much as I might wish to. Why did this become so dreadfully complicated?
Your worship, may I deliver a message from Lord Adornocello Trantovativa? His lordship accepts your request for a duel for the affection of Lady Montelier. He awaits your pleasure in Val Royeaux.
Your master had better bring a first-rate healer with him.
The Otrantos do not fear a fair fight, but I will convey your advice. Good day to you.